everybody. It's me, Brad Loekle. I'm coming to you live on tape from the futon couch of my writing room. This is where all the magic happens. This is where I do all my comedy writing. And I'm bringing to you today, tonight, whatever time it is when you watch this video, The Lost Last Laugh. Now, very quickly, because I know some people are going to watch this video who are not Gay Cruise guests and have never been to this show before, if you're one of my heterosexual fans, you're in for a fucking rodeo of a ride tonight. When I go on Atlantis events, and sometimes actually for the first time ever when I did this show on RSVP just this past February, when I do Atlantis events, at the very end of the week, I do a amazing show that is a wrap-up show of the entire week of all the craziness that's happened on board of our gay boats or at our gay resorts. And it is truly one of the favorite things I ever do in a year, in my career, frankly, and it's become very special and dear to me and to a lot of our guests over the years. And right now, today, Friday, whatever, March 111th or whatever, today would have been the night that I would be doing The Last Laugh on board the Celebrity Summit for all of my gay boys and my 37 party dykes in the Southern Caribbean cruise. And we would have already gone to Aruba and Bonaire and St. Martin and San Juan and all sorts of wonderful places that aren't my dirty bedroom, where I have been pretty much hunkered down, just crying and eating Arby's and then letting the dog eat the crumbs out of the bed. So that is, first of all, a breakdown of what this show would normally be. Normally, I would be dressed in clothing. Sometimes not, though. We've done a Last Laugh with me in nothing but my underwear before. We've done a Last Laugh with me in a bathtub. There will be foul language. So if you are one of my child fans from my TV work, or if you are the parent of children, this would be the time to tune out of this video, because if you all start reporting it for bad language, they're going to take it down, and then I have to repost it, and then you have to like enter your driver's license for YouTube to let you use it. It's fucking stupid. So don't be a dumpster cunt and just let me tell my goddamn jokes. I have a bunch to talk about. It's going to be a little different kind of a last laugh, mostly because I can't hear your laughter. Although if Greg Keep were here, my traveling companion on all the gay cruises, he would say that many times, even when you are there, we don't hear laughter. And then I would normally tell a terrible story about his disgusting life. But I'm going to give him a break just this once. So now that I've explained what Last Laugh is, and I've warned all the straight people, let's just get down to the week in review. Because even though we haven't been together on board the ship, I feel like a lot of us have had shared experiences in this new world. First of all, I think it's time for all of us to publicly apologize to the year 2019. Because we talked a lot of shit about 2019 when it was happening, and oh boy is 2020 already making 2019 look like the more attractive Menendez brother. Like, still bad, but the better version of bad. It's not going well. First of all, I'd also like to point out I am performing in a bathrobe because it is the only thing I own anymore that fits. We are not really even 14 days into the COVID-19 lockdown, and I have put on the COVID-20. So this is my dearest warning to all of you, because I know so many of you work so hard on your bodies. Please believe this one thing from me. Sweatpants are lies. They are lying to you. You need to get out of your sweatpants. You need to get out of your yoga pants and workout clothes just because you can't leave the house. You need to wake up every morning, even if you don't shower, even if you don't brush your teeth. Brushing your teeth is a lie that I believe was created by Big Fluoride anyway. You can wait till they get pretty fuzzy. It doesn't matter. What I'm telling you is you need to put on your most tailored jeans or shorts and force yourself to live in those all day long. Because I'm telling you, I never had a beach body unless you consider a beached manatee body a beach body. and nothing fits anymore. So once we can leave the house, I'm still going to have to Amazon Prime something that doesn't look like pajamas in order to leave the house. Okay, sweatpants are aligned. However, social distancing means that we've all been able to eat like tops for the first time in our life. So bottoms, yay! Who's been eating ribs every goddamn day? You are. Who's been eating a bloomin' onion for 4 for 1? You have, my little twinks, and good for you. Now you see why tops do top, because it doesn't require nearly as much maintenance. I'm 41 years old. I have not bottomed in at least 6 months. Certainly can't blame that on Corona. I can blame that more on the fact that I live in West Hollywood, so this kind of throws off the curve. But I also haven't been bottoming because it's just frankly too much work. Bottoming is a young man's game. It takes a lot. Bottoming... To prepare for bottoming, for straight people who don't understand, in order to bottom properly, one must clean out, one must douche the nether regions. So you get a little doucher, a little enema. Actually, it's really called an enema. Gays call it a douche, but for straight women watching, just understand we're not using old expired versions of Summer's Eve perfumed douching. It is an enema ball. And it's a lot like waiting for a new pope. You gotta wait till the smoke goes white, you gotta wait till the water goes clear, and it can take forever. I swear to God. And I live in Southern California. We're already washing our hands 50 times a fucking day, so there's gonna be no water in the state by the end of the month. You can't also be douching all the time, so bottom's been eating like a top. Don't get used to it. We will be released soon. And I know most of you are getting thirsty, which brings me to this conversation. I know many of you expected to have a lot of sex this week on the cruise, and many of you would have. So to the bottoms, I know a lot of your assholes at this point are like the plant in Little Shop of Horrors. Started out as that cute little plant, little Audrey too, about a week ago, 10 days ago, little... Now she's talking to you. Now she's talking to you and she wants things. Just, you're watching an old episode of Scrubs and suddenly you hear, "Feed me." So I would suggest you use whatever you can find around the house. Most of you do have toys. Just plop that in the shower. Just go ahead and move all of your sex toys into the shower. It's not like you need body wash for. Who you bathing for, honestly? Get the lube in there. You're going to need a silicone-based lube because the water one's going to wash away. But I'm going to warn you all, keep that jacksie open, okay? Because some of you younger bottoms, you bottom all the time. So you just think, as long as you've cleaned out, you're good to go. As an older man, let me tell you something. Unlike a lady's hymen, it will grow back. You will lose elasticity, okay? A friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name because he does go on a lot of our cruises, sent me a photo the other day to try to prove to me that his hairy starfish was tightening up to an unpleasant amount by sending me a photo of a tapered candle that had a little bit of grease on one end and was snapped in the middle, and said that his butthole, for the lack of sex during the quarantine, has now tightened to the point where he used a candle on himself, a tapered candle, and it snapped. For the record, I won't use your name, we'll just call him Schmavid, Schmamin. For the record, Schmavid, I have seen someone put an entire Yankee Candle Company mason jar candle inside of you, and that was on a Tuesday at an Easter brunch, okay? Doesn't even make sense because Easter's on Sunday. I've lost my mind. I haven't left the house in so goddamn long. Oh, speaking of not losing the house, I wanted to cut to a pre-taped video I made for you with some advice on grocery shopping, because grocery shopping for a lot of us has become insane. So we'll be right back in just a moment.
Hey everybody, it's Brad Loekle in quarantine here in Los Angeles. It's also pouring rain, so the mudslide should begin soon. That's something to look forward to. Went to the supermarket today Nothing. Not a thing. Not but you have to, like the amazing comedian who I love, Sarah Silverman, once said, when life gives you AIDS, you make lemonades. So I did what I could at the supermarket. I got vodka just for sterilization purposes. I wanted salsa and tortilla chips. They had tortilla chips, they didn't have salsa. But what they had was one last large jar of mayonnaise. So now I'm just doing tortilla chips and mayonnaise, which is what I call an Indiana guacamole. No lettuce, no kale, no carrots, but they did have 6 very hard avocados. So again, what are you going to do? I take those avocados, I tie them in a bag, I wait outside for the people who got to the lettuce and the carrots and the kale and the celery before me. And I pick someone who's clearly 65 years or older, and they were fucking told to stay inside. So they're basically breaking the law. And then you take that bag of avocados and you beat them in the back of their old fucking head. And then you take their lettuce, carrots, and celery, and tomatoes, and kale. But you leave a 20, and, they've got Medicare anyway, so they're going to be fine. And that's how you get through food shopping in Gilead, America.
And we're back. Alrighty then. Just gonna put that, hold on one second, sorry. Didn't realize that video was as short as it is. Where were we? Kneecapping the elderly at supermarkets. How's everyone been doing without Grindr? This is not... I love that Grindr is, has decided to stay up, even though everyone's supposed to stay inside, but Grindr is sending everyone the message that they're leaving the Grindr platform up because they want Grindr to also be a social app where people can just communicate, because we know that's really what happens there a lot. To me, calling Grindr a social app is like calling gonorrhea your time of the month. So I'm not a big fan of that. I will say, if you are already running out of lube, I discovered this today, get on Amazon Prime or whatever website you use to get your lubricants, and go ahead and that's what you should really start stockpiling. I don't know why people are stockpiling toilet paper. It's preposterous. This is not a gastrointestinal virus. I saw a woman hoarding kale. She had 14 bunches of kale, and I was like, you're not even going to eat that much kale before it's going to go bad. And if you do, frankly, you're the only person who should be hoarding toilet paper, you fucking lunatic. People are running out of lube. I will say the other day, I'm pretty much out of lube, so I'm waiting for Amazon to deliver it to my house, and then I'll have the bomb robot go outside, open it up, spray it with Lysol, and bring it in. But I ended up finding an old packet of Arby's horsey sauce in my nightstand. Don't ask why. That's not important to the story. And I used that as lubricant, just because I wanted to feel something again. Just wanted to feel something again. This is actually a true story about using unusual lubricants. So years and years and years ago, I dated a pastry chef for a while, on and off. And it was a very passionate relationship. We had amazing sex when we weren't beating the shit out of each other, emotionally and psychologically, and occasionally physically. But he loved to have sex all the time. And we would have sex in the kitchen sometimes because he was a chef and I like to cook too. And we would throw little dinner parties for friends at his house. And so oftentimes I wouldn't let him keep lube in the kitchen because I'm a lady. And so he would have to improvise. So oftentimes he would use extra virgin olive oil. Now, first of all, just so you know, great way to get your omega-3s. The fatty, they just absorb right in. Also, rejuvenates it like you wouldn't believe. My asshole never looked so young as after the olive oil sessions. It's wonderful, just like good for the hair, good for the coat, good for everything. But we were running low. He went to go use the olive oil one night. We were getting ready for a dinner party. And he went to go use the good olive oil, the expensive one you use for dressings and drizzling. And we were almost out of it. And I said, you can't use that olive oil. We need it for tonight. And we're not going to run out to the store at this point. It's too far away. People are going to be here soon. So you're just going to have to wait to have sex with me after, like a normal goddamn person. And he said, no. And he had already been softening butter for his dessert. So instead, he took just a schmear, as us New Yorkers would say, of butter and used, now before, I can hear people groaning even through the pre-tape. First of all, there's two things you should know. If you do use butter as a lubricant, you only want to do it occasionally very high in the saturated fats. You don't want those. Second of all, make sure it's unsalted, because you only make that mistake like twice. But if you do use the salted, boy does it, you bloat down there. It definitely puffs things up. It's literally like putting salt in a wound. Anyway, so he was using the butter as lubricant, and we were in the midst of our lovemaking, as it were. And then he said the following sentence: I love it because the harder I fuck you, the more it smells like biscuits in here. So then he started calling me Biscuits as his pet name for me, which his entire family eventually heard and thought was adorable because they thought it was a pastry chef calling his boyfriend Biscuits. So they all started calling me Biscuits. So then he freaked out and came to me and was like, you can never tell them that story. You're a fucking comedian and I know you're going to. You cannot tell them why I call you Biscuits. And I said, under what circumstances do you think I would just say to your 70-something-year-old mother, oh, hey, can you pass the butter? Oh, fun story. Butter's where the nickname Biscuits come from, because your son likes to shove it up my starfish and then bang me like a screen door in a hurricane. Merry Christmas, Susan. No. So, a little helpful hint from your dad. Oh, we're entering into the Tiger King material. If you have not watched Tiger King on Netflix, stop right now. There will be spoiler alerts. Tiger King spoiler alerts. I'm warning you. Hold on. Let me literally write it down. Tiger King spoilers. So I'm going to literally hold this up the entire time. This is the Tiger King spoiler alert section. So either pause it, go watch the entire new Netflix documentary, Tiger King, or come back later and watch it, skip ahead to the rest of the special, to the rest of the last laugh, or come back. Oh my God, fucking people, Tiger King. I know so many of you are watching Tiger King from social media. What is, okay, now I have to look at my notes so I can't even continue to hold it up. Tiger King. So Tiger King's wardrobe, let's be honest. First of all, I owned a lot of that clothing in high school. It was the late 90s. I lived in upstate New York. My only options for homosexuality were international mail. Does he know about a secret international mail warehouse that still exists that I don't know about? Where does one find like a blue and black lame pirate's blouse that's in a cheetah print? It's also, to me, Tiger King dresses like every lesbian going to a wedding, but like a lesbian wedding happening like in Joshua Tree. Tiger King is, and also I don't think America was ready to actually see gay white trash. We've all known it's existed, but Jesus Christ, no one was ready. Also, but also then, like, he makes music videos. Why is he making? And honestly, some of them are half decent. The one about Carol Baskin allegedly killing her husband, we'll get to that in a second, is actually a fun fucking song. That sweet one about like, tell all of the hunters to lay down their guns. And because I love when country singers do that kind of tell all of the hunter, because it's a white man politely letting you know he's about to yodel. It's that tone that only country singers have, that tell all of the hunters to lay down their guns. It's almost between a Neville brother and a yodeler. But whatever it is, I'm here for it. Carol Baskin. Carol Baskin is every Catwoman you've ever known. no one should legally be allowed to wear an artificial flower wreath around their head outside of Burning Man. That is the only place it's allowed, and that is why we have put them all together in an area with no resources and a high probability of mortality. Because that should just be unacceptable. Also, is it just me, or does the whole Carol Baskin Big Cat Sanctuary situation, like, I want a separate documentary just on the system of cults there, because they all have to earn those different layers of shirts. Like, I'm a red shirt, I'm a yellow shirt, I'm a green shirt. I'm really glad she must have remembered 8th grade history and didn't create a level that was brown shirts, because that would just get a little too 1930s for me. But I feel like her entire world within the documentary is like the other documentary, Wild Wild Country, but if you added pumas just to make it crazy. Also, let's face it, she fucking killed her husband for the gold bars that he buried on rental properties in Florida. You know, every fucking asshole who bought a house from her missing husband is digging up their fucking yard or has a metal detector because that one guy is like, he used to bury gold bars on rental properties. He was crazy. Also, that is a fair depiction of everyone's accent in any area of Florida. I've noticed a lot of you are big fans of Travis. Travis is the taller, prettier, gay for pay husband of Tiger King. And I want to give some mad prompts to Meth Mouth. And you're all calling him Meth Mouth, and he has a name. His name is John Finlay, and I am in love with him. I don't know why he's not allowed to wear a shirt. I don't know if it was part of the FBI deal, like you turn state's evidence and then they take your shirts away, but I'm not mad at it, and I'm telling you, I can fix his teeth, and I can fix his heart, and I can love him. And this is where I'm going to get calls from my best friends, because they know that I have a tendency to start pen pal relationships with people in prison and with meth addictions. Where were we? Oh, pot stores. For all of you who are living in states where marijuana is legal, congratulations. We've really won out during this quarantine. I know pot sales are up magnificently high in California to help us all get through it. Fun story, I can't use marijuana. I mean, I can, but the problem is it doesn't have the relaxing effect it's supposed to have. Fun story, many, many, many years ago on a gay cruise, it was the big white party night, and I was going to dinner with a bunch of my friends, many of whom happened to be porn stars and escorts. And marijuana is not my substance of choice if I'm going to use a recreational substance. But everything that I would have enjoyed was gone. So we got to dinner, and my friend handed me a little Jolly Rancher and said, here, take this. It's a weed Jolly Rancher. It's an edible. And I said, well, you know, there's nothing left, so I guess I'll try it. And he goes, well, we already used ours before we came to dinner, so, you know, so that the munchies would kick. And I said, well, you know, I'll just wait till after dinner. Now, I had no idea how potable it was. I had not smoked or done an edible in probably 10 or 15 years at that point. My first clue that this edible was going to be strong should have been when my friend who gave it to me was using the butter knife to cut his roll open to butter it, and just kept rubbing until the roll was split in two, fell to the ground, and he just continued to rub the butter knife on his hand, oblivious to the fact that the roll had left the scene. But for whatever reason, that didn't tip me off. We finished the dinner, and I decide for dessert, gonna pop in that Jolly Rancher and get a little jolly myself. Pop in the Jolly Rancher. It literally tasted like I was at a Fish concert. Very strong. Sucking on it. We finished dinner. We're about to go see my friend Ann Steele do her show before we go up to the big party. And I decide to swing back to my room because the smell is very pungent on my breath. So I swing back to the room, I crunch up the Jolly Rancher, swallow it, brush my teeth, brush my tongue, do a quick scope, make myself a sensible vodka soda, head out to meet my friends. Halfway through Anne's show, I am definitely, my whole body is feeling both numb, yet also very much in the room. At one point, I may have looked in a mirror across the room and tapped my friend on the shoulder and asked him if I was a marshmallow. But in fairness, look at this. It could be. If you found a marshmallow under the couch, it's gotten some hair stuck on it, this could be a marshmallow. At the end of the show, I stood up to applaud my friend Anne. And I looked at my friend David and said, my God, why are you so tall? Are you wearing heels? Suddenly you're so much taller than me while we're standing. And he said, Brad, you're not standing. And I thought I was. That's when I knew I was in trouble. So I decided to sneak back to my room to wait until the high mellowed out. For the next 7.5 hours, I laid on the bed in my stateroom where I full tilt hallucinated that I was floating up to the ceiling, bouncing off it like a balloon, back down to the bed, through the bed, down to the carpet, could feel the carpet, and then back up. Also, because I was on deck 2 and had a porthole, I could hear the waves quite loud outside, which said to my drug-addled mind that the ship was filling with water. But I knew I was too high to be in public or to get in a lifeboat. So here's what I did, because I'm smart. I took off one sock and shoe and placed that foot off the edge of the bed on the carpet and kept reminding myself when I was floating up and down that every time my foot touched that carpet, the second I felt water, it was time to put your shoe back on and run for the lifeboat. And that went on until dawn, when I passed out. The next day, when I finally come to around 2 p.m., come up to the pool deck, see the light of day, my friends come up to me, they go, where were you? We couldn't find you after Anne's concert. We couldn't find you at the party. We couldn't find you on the dick deck. We couldn't find you at the after hours party. You weren't answering your stateroom phone. I said, what the fuck did you guys give me last night? They went, what, the Jolly Rancher? I said, yeah, the Jolly Rancher. I said, I went on a whole fucking peyote walkabout in the goddamn Australian deserts of my mind. And David said, well, how much of the Jolly Rancher did you have? I said, how much? It's a Jolly Rancher. I ate the Jolly Rancher. And he said, oh my God, Brad, you can't have that whole Jolly Rancher. We just sucked on ours for like 90 seconds or 2 minutes, wrapped it back up, put it away, and we were high as kites all night. Why would you eat the whole Jolly Rancher? I said, why wouldn't I eat the whole Jolly Rancher? Look at me. What about me says to you that a Jolly Rancher is not a single serving? So that is why marijuana is not helping me through this, All right, before I get to the last few things I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I hope any of this has been fun for you. It's been fun for me just to actually speak out loud in my house for the first time in 2 weeks, other than when I'm FaceTiming family members or that sort of thing. I know everyone's looking for things to do, like we're all binge watching stuff, and some of you have been so bold as to download Rosetta Stones thinking you're finally going to learn Spanish, and you're not. Some of you have taken up knitting. I know maybe Dixie Longate will finally finish that fucking yarn llama she's always talking about, or yarn alpaca, or whatever the goddamn hell it was. I've been reading a lot. Been reading a lot of Toni Morrison, who I love and adore. I've been reading a lot of, revisiting a lot of books. I haven't reread my own book, but you can go to Amazon.com and pick it up if you want some escapism. It's fun. And I make like $4 per book off of it. So if 10,000 of you do it, I might actually live to the end of the year. Anyway, Brad Loekle, my Big Gay Life on Amazon. But I wanted to read a few sections from a book that is very near and dear to my heart and to James Compton, our producer in Atlantis and RSVP's heart. It's Joan Crawford, My Way of Life. You can find this on Amazon, and you can find it at thriftbooks.com, which is a great used bookstore online that I use a lot. Joan wrote this in 1971. She was kind of Martha Stewart before she was Martha Stewart. It's absolutely horrifying for the most part. First of all, in the table of contents, there's only 2 sections. There's part 1, which is My Way of Life. And then there's part 2, Looking the Part. And apparently that's the only thing that matters. There are chapter headings like, A Script for a Complete Woman, Setting the Stage, The Pleasure of Company, Over the Garden Gate, Moving into a Man's World, 4 Miles High and 15 Suitcases. And then my favorite, Applause, ... and Solitude. It is an insane read. It came out, I believe, before Mommy Dearest, because the best part is at one point she literally says, my eldest daughter Christina's gone into acting and she's damn good at it. I think we'll be hearing a lot more from her in the near future. And boy, did we, Joan. But I just wanted to read some of me and James' favorite passages here. Here's one of James's favorites. Alfred, she's talking about Alfred, the head of PepsiCo, who she married when she was in her middle to older years. Alfred was simply delighted when I encouraged him to bring his work home with him. In fact, I insisted on it so that I could be sure he wasn't over-tiring himself. I used to say to him, you must leave the office at 4. Come back here and have your tea or a cup of hot soup. We used to love a cup of turtle soup at that time of the day. It's a comforting brew and very nourishing. Then I'd insist he rest, put his feet up, and completely relax. Fucking turtle soup. This is James's favorite. Here are some of the hot hors d'oeuvres that I love, and they must be kept hot in chafing dishes. 2/3 of this book is her reciting recipes in paragraph form. She doesn't actually put them in as recipes. She literally talks about them like it's a fucking novel, and just lists them out. And she does everything for like how many extra butlers to hire depending on what kind of garden party you're having. It's insanity. It's like having Gloria Vanderbilt teach home economics. And be like, if you can't find duck eggs to make your omelet, goose's eggs will do. So here are some of the hot hors d'oeuvres that I love. I saute half strips of bacon in butter until it's half done, and then wrap the strip around chicken livers or pimento stuffed olives. They go in a preheated oven at 350 degrees and bake until the bacon is crisp. I use a little round cookie cutter to make rounds of very thin white bread. Then I toast them in the oven, buttered, spread them with peanut butter, and then stick them under the broiler until they're piping hot and sizzling. And then I sprinkle crisp crumbled bacon all over the top. What in God's green earth is that? I tried making that when I got this book, and I threw up in my mouth while cooking it. That one I'm saving for last. Hold on, what's the next one? Where is it? Oh, here we go. She's talking about parenting. I've always thought, too, that the terms father and mother are words that mean disciplinarian. I like the word friend instead. We wouldn't have or adopt children if we weren't anxious to be their greatest friends and their greatest fucking enemies. When they were old enough to stand on a stool at the sink, they washed out their shoelaces and polished their little white shoes every day before putting them away. The woman was a monster. I've never washed a pair of shoelaces in my life. I didn't know that was a thing, and I still don't think it is. And here's something you queens will absolutely adore. This is something an Atlantis or RSVP guest would absolutely write about getting ready for a cruise. I always pack in daylight. In artificial light, when I'm in a hurry, it's too easy to grab the wrong accessories and find myself in Kansas City or San Juan with a hot pink dress and a shocking pink hat. And that's a catastrophe. So's your fucking life, Joan. But here's the last one, and I want to point out this is something she actually wrote in a book that someone published in 1971 on planet Earth. She's talking about women going into the workforce and men being intimidated by that. And she says, I think that if a woman decides to work, her husband should have tremendous respect for her. I think his admiration should shoot sky high. He ought to be deliciously happy. But no, men put up all kinds of objections, all of which cover up their real subconscious fear. That she'll come home tired and won't want to go to bed with me. They wonder what's going to happen to them sexually. But the fact is that when a woman feels she's done a good job and accomplished something, she's charged, she's ready for sex. Maybe he'll be too tired that night, and maybe he'll get raped. What? Maybe he'll be too tired that night. Maybe he'll get raped. Merry fucking Christmas from Joan Crawford and her way of life. All right, before I get out of here, I know this is a crazy time. I know we're all going stir crazy in our homes. I know all of my beautiful boys and girls from Atlantis, we were supposed to just have this wonderful, wonderful time together, and we feel like our beautiful gay summer camp has been stolen from us. But it'll be back, and the world will be back, and we have been through rough times before. Our community in particular certainly has been through rough times with viruses before, and we just need to keep our heads above water. However, you need to do that. My rule is always just get up every morning and fight. If you can fight all day for a better life for yourself and your friends and your loved ones in the world, then fight all day. If you can fight for 1 whole minute, then fight for 1 whole minute, and then put your fucking pajamas on and make a martini and get back in bed and watch a movie. You do what you have to get through this, but do it as healthily and wholly as you can. And I've seen, we've all made emotional posts, and we're all trying to figure out what this all means. We're all trying to figure out where we fit in all this insanity. Some of us have already lost people to this virus. Some of us have the virus. It's a lot. And it seems like extreme times. I saw someone just yesterday post something on Facebook that said, everybody remember that Anne Frank was in house quarantine for 2 years and 35 days. So we can make it through 14 days or 30 days or even 60 days if we have to. And at first I thought, fucking yeah, that's right. Fucking Anne Frank did it, and so can we. Then I realized if you're posting that, you probably haven't read to the end of the book, because that story at the end of the 2 years and 35 days does not end well for the heroine. So maybe don't use Anne Frank as the best example. Love Anne Frank, love her to death. Went to her house in Amsterdam, was lucky enough when I was with Atlantis many years ago to visit that beautiful city and go to that house. I even still know the Wi-Fi password. If you do get a chance to go to the Anne Frank house later this year, Atlantis will be doing a cruise from Amsterdam to Barcelona, as long as the world still exists. And I'll just let you know now, you don't even have to ask for the password. The Wi-Fi password at the Anne Frank house is shh. It's 16 H's, all caps, which I thought was a little too soon, but who am I to judge? I'm not Judge Judy. But I do just want to tell you 2 funny things that literally just happened in the last 2 days. I was talking with my dear friend Courtney Act about all of this, and I was talking about how, and this is true, it just so happened that right before all of this happened and we all got locked down, and all of my jobs kind of disappeared temporarily, and all of the work disappeared, and I can't perform in front of people, and I can't. I was working on 2 really amazing TV projects that are hopefully really, really close to becoming realities, which would be really exciting for me because I love them both dearly, and making them with friends that I really love dearly, which is such a rarity in television. And we were so close with both of them, and now everything's been put on hold. And Courtney looked at me on our FaceTime meeting and went, Brad, maybe this is God just telling you this is how much he doesn't want you to succeed. He's willing to kill the earth to stop you from making any more television. And you know what? We're both atheists, but she might be right. I'm not going to lie. It does feel prophetic on some level. But then on the other hand, my friend Cameron and I were just talking the other day, and he's one of my best friends, truly, and we've known each other a long time, and I watched him really come up and build a life for himself through his 20s and now his early 30s that he has a very right to be very proud of. And he's very successful in his new career, and he's one of those people who, like, in the late 20s, just decided it was time for a life change and to take life, by the horns. And he put himself through college, and he got his degree, and he started working, and he's worked his way up, and he's like the number 2 man at this really successful company. And he just found out that he's going to be cut down to probably 20 hours a week at best, and they may have to lay him off for the foreseeable future until we know what's going on in the world. And I said, how you doing, Cam? How you holding up? And he said, Brad, it's hard, but I just really think this is the universe telling me I need to reevaluate where I am, and maybe it's time for me to think about what the next 10 years looks like for me, and should I be putting myself out there to work with other companies or start my own company. So I'm really just looking at this pandemic from the point of view of the universe trying to teach me some sort of lesson. And I got off the phone with him and I thought, Jesus Christ, like, what if that's true? What if the universe is literally thinking, how many grannies do I have to kill to get Cameron to start a LinkedIn account? For fuck's sake. And on that note, my dears, I love you. Stay safe. Please stay inside your homes. Please avoid contact. Please believe in science. Please believe in doctors. Please support doctors and science. Take care of yourselves. Please stop hoarding food, because the fat people need it more. We're used to eating more than you. And if I go to the supermarket one more time and there's not a goddamn French baguette left at 8 o'clock in the morning, I will go on a killing spree. I love you all. Stay safe. And I promise I will see you on our next Atlantis event. And I promise as soon as the world is open again, I will get back on every stage I can as quickly as I can. Because I miss all of your laughter and I miss all of your love. Take care, everybody. I love you. Good night.